welcome back. And here with us today is Tahlequah's treasure, Beth Harrington. And we're sitting here in the Thompson house, which I call it your baby. And I love being in here. It feels so warm and cozy and at home. And you've played a great part in making it feel just this way. And I know you have been dubbed the History Lady.
Yes. That's fun. That's a fun title.
I think that's a great title because being Tahlequah's treasure, you do know so many things that so many people that come here don't know. And you've shared them with ages to come, and being on INTV and your Historical Tahlequah show, you've really opened a lot of people's eyes about the beauty of Tahlequah and its past. And I'm really pleased that I know you, but that you're doing this. It's a great project.
Well, it's a wonderful project, and Tahlequah has so much to offer, and people need to know that it is a treasure. It is a treasure for Oklahoma and for the United States in essence, and people need to know about that. And of course, I think you're pretty special since you were my student a long time ago.
Well, who didn't you teach in Tahlequah is what I want to know. That's why we're all so well behaved.
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, one of the things that I found interesting is your life. So often the historical treasure isn't really known for who she truly is. There's so many new people that have come to Tahlequah.
Oh, that's good.
And we're growing and everything, and you didn't teach everyone.
No.
So for those that do not know about your life, which is extremely interesting in my opinion, tell us how it all began here in Tahlequah for you and your family.
Well, my parents were teachers, and they had gone to school here. And
at Northeastern.
At Northeastern, yes, at Northeastern. And my dad had taught the first anatomy courses in the pre-med department back in the 20s. And then they taught, you know, places like teachers do. Daddy was the superintendent, mother taught little kids. And when I came along into their lives, I graduated from high school at age 16, and they were ready to retire. And so they moved back to Tahlequah with me, and I went to school here and then began teaching here in 1950. We came here in 47 for me to go to college. Then I went off to Tennessee to graduate school, and then I continued to teach here for 48 years. And of course, I've loved the people and the community and the history. And so in essence, that's how we happened to be here, because I was so young. And in an earlier day, parents whose children were very young were a little bit more sheltering in some cases, perhaps, than is the current way you do things now. So that's how they happened to come here. And they knew many of the faculty. In fact, they didn't move here at first. I lived with Mr. and Mrs. Bedwell when I first came to school here until my parents moved down here. And they had been friends when they were young people. And Mr. Bedwell taught in the science department at Northeastern.
Now, you taught music.
I taught music.
I can't say that you did a very good job with me because I don't think I was musically inclined, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And music is your forte. You play the organ at First Baptist Church, and then you're going to play in a concert.
I'm going to Tulsa this week to play at the Travis Mansion in the Rose Garden in Tulsa with a flutist friend of mine, and we're going to do a concert there.
Well, that's neat. So you're very active, still in your music role. But when did it really become the History Lady?
Well, actually, my parents were always interested in history. And so as I grew up, we always traveled, you know, to historical places close by and then farther away as money became available during the Depression and after the Depression. And I just have always been interested in history and always took extra hours as I worked on degrees in history. And Tahlequah is so rich in history. And I have Cherokee cousins, and so I just became very interested. And I thought children like you, who were children that I taught, young people that I taught, ought to know what a treasure was here, and they ought to know what was here. And then
Well, you're doing a very fine job of that. But did you start the Ladies or the Historical Society here? Or was it already in?
Actually, back in the early 1990s, the city formed a historical advisory board. And I came on board sometime in the 90s. and didn't do too much until '97. And then we began to really work at promoting the historical aspects of this community. There was an earlier county historical society, and of course I was involved with the beginning of the Thompson House in the early '80s. I was always interested, and since my parents were older than I would visit with their friends and write down their stories and listen to what they said, and have published some things about history. And I'm about to complete another book on Tahlequah's history.
So you're a musician, an author, and historical perspective is just really coming into play all the way around, isn't it?
And yes, it really does. You know, and I've always thought you ought to give back to your community.
And
I did in the teaching profession. I did that, and since I've retired, while I was teaching, I served our faculty as staff development chairman and negotiated for our faculty.
Well, and as a matter of fact, we sit on a board right now together, so you are very, very active in the community, and I think giving back, you have definitely the right idea. Well, Beth, when we come back after this short break, we're going to talk about this beautiful Thompson House that you've been so instrumental in saving for our community.
I'd love to do that.
And we'll look forward to that interview, and we'll see you in a few minutes.